The story unfolds in a peaceful suburban neighborhood, characterized by rows of charming houses and well-maintained gardens. The tranquility of the area offers a sense of comfort and community. Daniel, a college student eager for independence, has just moved into a rental home here. This new chapter in Daniel's life is filled with excitement and a bit of apprehension about living alone for the first time. As the story begins, Daniel, a college student, is filled with a mix of excitement and nervousness about their new independence. They've just moved into a small, cozy house in a suburban neighborhood. The house, while modest, is perfect for Daniel's needs, a quiet place to study and relax away from the bustling campus life. The neighborhood, with its tree-lined streets and friendly residents, seems like the ideal place to live. During the first few days, Alex spends time unpacking and setting up the new home. They take occasional breaks, sitting by the window with a cup of coffee, observing the neighborhood's daily life. Neighbors are seen walking their dogs, children play in the yards, and there's a general sense of community in the air. Daniel's curiosity about the neighbor grows as they notice his persistent gaze. It's not clear why he spends so much time at the window, or why he seems so interested in the comings and goings of the neighborhood. Daniel tries to brush off the uneasy feeling, attributing it to the natural wariness of being in a new place. As days turn into weeks, Daniel's discomfort regarding the elderly neighbor escalates. The neighbor's constant vigil at the window becomes more than just a peculiar habit. It feels like a silent threat. Daniel tries to shake off the feeling, but the neighbor's gaze follows them incessantly, whether they're coming home from college or just stepping out to the local store. One morning, Daniel finds their garden decorations rearranged. At first, they dismiss it as a prank by local kids. However, when it happens again, along with small items going missing from the porch, Daniel can't help but feel targeted. The situation takes a more ominous turn when Daniel begins receiving anonymous notes. The first note is left in their mailbox, a simple piece of paper with a message scrawled in hasty handwriting. "You don't belong here." Chills run down Daniel's spine as they read it. They look across the street, half expecting to see the neighbor watching, but the window is empty. More notes follow, each more disturbing than the last. "Leave while you can," one says. Another simply states, "I'm watching." Daniel can't tell if these messages are from the neighbor or someone else, but they can't shake off the feeling that they're being watched and targeted. One night, the situation escalates further. Daniel wakes to the sound of someone whispering their name outside the window. Heart pounding, they muster the courage to look outside, only to find nothing but the quiet, dark street. The incident leaves Daniel shaken and scared, questioning their safety in their own home. One evening, Daniel notices something unusual. The elderly neighbor is not at his usual post by the window. The house across the street is dark, eerily silent. This sudden change in the neighbor's routine unnerves Daniel, but also sparks a bold decision: to confront the situation. Summoning courage, Daniel decides to investigate. They wait until the street is quiet, and under the cover of night, they cautiously make their way across to the neighbor's house. The unkempt garden feels even more sinister in the dark, but Daniel pushes forward, driven by a need to understand the source of their fear. As Daniel approaches the house, they notice the back door slightly ajar. Heart racing, they step inside, immediately struck by the musty, stagnant air of the house. The interior is cluttered and dusty, with old furniture and stacks of newspapers creating a maze. In the dim light, Daniel sees a door that appears to lead to the basement. Driven by a mix of fear and determination, they descend the creaky stairs. The basement is poorly lit, but Daniel can make out a strange setup. A series of photographs and notes plastered across the walls. The realization hits Daniel like a wave. The neighbor has been obsessively watching them, just as he did with the previous occupants. The notes, the rearranged items, the whispered names, it was all him. The shrine-like setup in the basement reveals the depth of his obsession. Suddenly, Daniel hears footsteps upstairs. Panic sets in. They realize they're not alone. The neighbor is in the house. Daniel hides, heart pounding, as they hear the neighbor's slow, deliberate steps descending the stairs. The neighbor begins talking to himself, his voice a mix of anger and sorrow. He speaks of loss, of people leaving, and of his attempts to make them stay. It becomes clear to Daniel that the neighbor is trapped in a cycle of grief and obsession, viewing each new tenant as someone who might fill a void in his life. Daniel steps out from their hiding place, facing the man who has been haunting their days and nights. The confrontation is tense, with Daniel demanding answers, and the neighbor, now exposed, oscillating between anger and confusion. At that critical moment, the sound of sirens pierces the night. The police, called by another neighbor who noticed Daniel's suspicious behavior, arrive. They intervene just as the situation is about to escalate further. The police arrive at the neighbor's house. Daniel, still shaken from the confrontation, explains the situation to the officers. The elderly man, now caught in the act of his obsessive behavior, is taken into custody. The police reveal to Daniel that the neighbor has a history of stalking and obsessing over tenants in Daniel's house, fueled by his inability to cope with the loss of a loved one many years ago. The house is searched, and the police find more evidence of the neighbor's disturbing behavior. Along with the shrine in the basement, they discovered journals detailing his thoughts and observations about the tenants, including Daniel. It becomes clear that the neighbor's actions were driven by a delusional belief that the tenants could replace his lost relationship. The apartment building nestled in the heart of a bustling city. The building, with its faded brick exterior and towering presence, stands out as a relic of the past amid the modern cityscape. It's a place that seems to hold countless stories within its aged walls. Mia, a young professional, has recently moved into this building. Drawn by its affordable rent and vintage charm, she finds herself both excited and a little intimidated by her new home. The apartment building has a unique character, with creaky wooden floors, antique elevators, and long, dimly lit corridors that evoke a sense of mystery. As Mia explores her new neighborhood, she finds herself enchanted by the hustle and bustle of city life. The streets are always alive with activity, and there's a sense of energy that Maya finds invigorating. The local shops, cafes, and parks quickly become her favorite haunts, and she starts to feel at home in the vibrant urban environment. One neighbor, an elderly woman who has lived in the building for many years, shares with Mia that the building has a long and varied history. She speaks of past residents and events with a hint of nostalgia and caution, suggesting that not all the building's history is pleasant. Her stories are filled with a mix of fact and local lore, leaving Mia both fascinated and slightly unnerved. The strange noises from the vacant apartment below become more frequent and more pronounced. What started as occasional thumps and muffled sounds now includes the distinct sound of footsteps and sometimes a faint, unidentifiable melody late at night. These sounds often disrupt Mia's sleep, leaving her tired and increasingly anxious. Curiosity and concern drive Mia to investigate further. She inquires with the building's management about the apartment below, but they dismiss her concerns, insisting the apartment has been empty for months. Their evasive responses only deepen Mia's suspicion that something isn't right. Mia's unease grows when she befriends another tenant, John, who has lived in the building for a few years. John shares rumors he's heard about the building's mysterious past, including tales of unexplained events and disappearances linked to the very apartment beneath Mia's. His stories, a blend of half-remembered facts and building lore, paint a picture of a place with a history much darker than Mia had imagined. The tipping point comes when Mia, alone in her apartment one night, clearly hears a voice whispering through the floorboards. The words are indistinct, but the presence of a voice is unmistakable. Frightened but resolute, Mia decides it's time to take action. Mia, driven by her determination to uncover the truth, decides to investigate the vacant apartment below hers. Her plan is simple yet bold: to sneak into the apartment late at night when the building is quiet and explore what has been causing the mysterious sounds. On the chosen night, Mia waits until the building settles into silence. Her heart races with a mix of fear and anticipation. With a flashlight in hand, she cautiously makes her way to the apartment below. To her surprise, she finds the door unlocked. Pushing it open, she steps into the dark, empty space. The apartment is cold and still, with a layer of dust covering everything. But then, she notices something unusual. A section of the living room floor looks newer than the rest. Curiosity piqued, Mia investigates and discovers it's a concealed trapdoor. With a deep breath, Mia opens the trapdoor and descends a narrow set of stairs leading to a hidden basement. This secret room is a stark contrast to the apartment above. It's filled with strange symbols on the walls, old books, and what appears to be ritualistic items. As Mia absorbs the shocking discovery, she suddenly hears footsteps above. Panicking, she realizes she isn't alone. Someone, likely a member of the group, is in the apartment, possibly aware of her intrusion. Mia quickly hides, her heart pounding in her chest. Mia holds her breath, hoping to go unnoticed. The tension is palpable as the moments stretch on, with Mia trapped and the unknown person above possibly closing in on her. Once she's certain she's alone, Mia quickly climbs back up to the vacant apartment, her mind racing with the discovery of the cult-like group operating right beneath her home. She realizes the gravity of her situation. She's uncovered a secret that puts her in potential danger. Mia decides to take immediate action. She leaves the apartment, making sure to lock the trapdoor and door behind her, and goes straight to the police. There, she reports everything she has discovered, from the strange noises to the ritualistic setup in the hidden basement. The police take her report seriously and launch an investigation. Over the following days, they uncover the truth about the group operating in the building. It turns out to be a small, secretive cult with beliefs centered around the history and energy of the old building. Their activities, while unsettling, are found to be nonviolent and mostly involve ritualistic practices and meditation.